I'm Brent Johnson.
I'm Andrew Schaeffer.
And we have come to Galena, Illinois. We are at Galena United Methodist Church, and we are here to see this organ. Andrew, tell me what this organ is.
It's a rather rare organ. It was built in 1885 by the Moline Pipe Organ Company of Moline, Illinois, which is in the Quad Cities.
And this is about an hour from where we are here. So
right.
If you don't know where the Quad Cities are, we'll go look it up. But Moline is where this organ was built.
Yeah, and this company has quite a unique history. Started by a man named John Lancashire, who came over from England. He was actually an employee with the Willis Company. He came all the way to Ripon, Wisconsin. There was actually quite a large English diaspora in Ripon, Wisconsin. I don't fancy that with the name Ripon. Okay. Ripon, England, Ripon, Wisconsin. Anyway, he met the Marshall brothers, and they started an organ firm there called Lancashire Marshall. And this company moved later to Moline, Illinois, changed their name to the Moline Pipe Organ Company, and then they moved to Rock Island, Illinois, and they changed their name again. And so there's quite a few organs built by this firm that are out there. You might know them by different names, but there are very few. I checked on the database, supposedly 15 extant organs from the Moline Organ Company built in Moline, Illinois. There are many more Lancashire Marshalls, but and probably less than that. So this is a very rare instrument.
I believe it's the second one I've ever seen, and the other one I think was in Illinois as well. And I don't know that it was in as good a shape of this one.
This has been fully restored, I think twice now, once in the 50s and then another time in the late 1990s. And, you know, a sign of a terrific restorer, I don't know who did it. No, seriously, they didn't plaster their name on the console. The organ's a little difficult to get into, so maybe there's some documentation in there too. But they left without a trace, and this is all original from 1885. Wonderful. The church, just interesting note, is one of the oldest churches in Illinois, founded in 1829. This building was built in the 1850s, right before the Civil War. And fun fact, that one of their most notable parishioners was Ulysses S. Grant.
Wow.
He lived here in Galena with his family, and they attended this church shortly before the war. Then after the war, he came back to Galena for a little bit of time, I think when he was running for president for the first time, and came to this church both times. One of the first times this organ was actually used in public was for a Grant's memorial service.
Oh, wow.
Kind of an interesting little history for you Civil War buffs out there.
Indeed. Yeah, this is a historic little town, so it's exactly what we expect to find in a church like this. So I guess I'm ready to hear what some of 1885 sounds like here in this instrument.
And this organ, you know, I would say, just before we start, it's not atypical of other organs from the 1880s. It's exceptionally well built. Lancashire brought his expertise from the Willis Company to build very high quality tracker action organs. There's very versatile organ for the needs of the 1850s. So I'm going to start actually in the Swell division. Usually we start with the diapasons of the great. I'm going to turn that on its head and start actually in Swell. And we have a reed. The only reed in the organ is an oboe and a bassoon. Like in a lot of other organs from this time period, you have to draw both the bassoon and the oboe to get one rank to sound. One's for the bottom octave and the rest is for the top. So here's the oboe by itself. So pretty strident stop.
Yeah, it's a big sound.
It really kind of, I think, straddles between an oboe and a trumpet, so you can use it and get that brassy sound out of it. Here it is with the Fugara 4 and the 8-foot principal, so you can hear how it sounds in the chorus. It
really sits out on top there. So
yeah, and as we'll hear later, it really can standard tone when we get to the full grade chorus as well. So
And that's the only reed in the organ, correct?
that's correct.
All right.
Yep.
So that makes sense then. You want something that's a little bit.
Right. So we have a Lieblich gedeckt 16 in the swell, and that only starts at tenor C. Then we have an 8-foot open diapason of 8-foot pitch. Now, you'll notice that there was no bottom octave of the 8-foot diapason.
Okay.
And that is because you have to pull out the stop that says unison bass 8-foot.
Huh.
So we'll listen to that. So that's just an 8-foot stop diapason.
Right. I assume
And-
some of the other 8-foots don't.
Right,
Go down
right.
that
So you would have that unison bass on with the 8-foot open diapason, and it would sound like this. Really stands its own. Works really well.
It's a very light diapason, though. So we'll compare that to the great one when we get there.
Sure. So there's a solutional 8. Again, you need the common bass. I believe you need the common bass. No, you don't.
Is
The
it all the way down
solutional
to
goes
C?
all the way down.
But it does sound like that has a stopped bass
Yeah.
there in the bottom.
Kind of quinty. Still luxurious.
Yeah.
That quinty sound really does
Yeah, it
work
works.
well. Really clever.
Okay.
Stop diapason of 8-foot pitch, and then you need the unison bass for this. Yeah.
So that's probably the same stop
Yeah.
all the way through then.
Really beautiful stop.
Yeah.
Then we have a 4-foot fugara. This fugara was called on to be kind of a chameleon of a 4-foot,
Yeah.
right? Because you have to use it with the 8-foot open diapason.
I was thinking it's not really big enough to be a
4-foot,
diapason,
yeah.
but it's got that stringy
But enough to
stringy
stand
brightness
tone.
that'll make it stand out with the flutes or the solutional.
Right, works with the solutional. Actually, that's a really lovely combination. And then with the Lieblich gedeckt, or the stop diapason. Here it is with everything.
Yeah, that works.
All right, next I'll just show you the pedal. So this has what's called a pedal check, that you have to engage to use the pedal board.
Oh, okay.
So if you push this in,
Pedals don't move.
the pedals don't move at all. And I assume this was just safety for
Yeah.
careless organists like myself, who occasionally will forget their pedal stops on and have their foot slip. Kind of a nifty little thing. There's just a sub bass of 16-foot pitch. And a bass flute. And I wonder if they're the same. They sure are. Yep. So it's just an extension.
And we have a 27-note compass down there, is that
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And speaking of, while we're here, the swell pedals all the way off to
Right,
the
yep.
right-hand side, like you would find in France. And it's got a piano pedal for the grate, which brings on just 8-foot stops, Melodia and Dulciana, and then a forte that brings on everything in the grate. And unlike the Schulke we saw a few weeks ago, you can go actually backwards,
Oh,
which is
interesting.
really handy.
Yeah.
And I have to be also careful not to push this stop in because
Yes, the bellow signal
is
is
the,
our power switch for the motor.
So the pedal check and the bellows, you always have to watch out for it. So going back to the grate, I'll work my way down in the chorus. We have a 2-foot 15th.
Big sound.
It is, yep. 4-foot principal. And then the 8-foot open. I don't believe the facade is speaking. I don't think it's coming through the
No,
facade.
it's behind it, but
Well, no, it is.
no.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's a pretty hefty scale.
yeah. This is obviously compared to the Swell now. This is where most of our power is coming from in this organ. I see already.
Right. Yeah, it's typical of 1880s organ. Unlike the Schulke that we saw, that the open diapason is really driving the whole organ.
We're getting an English influence here rather
Right,
than the German. So.
right.
All right.
Dulciana 8. And I forgot, I need to pull out the unison bass.
we-
So much to remember on this organ. The 8-foot melodia, I'll make sure that I have the unison bass on because I know I'm going to need it.
Lovely. Yeah.
4-foot flute d'amore, what you'd expect. Melodia and flute d'amore. With the 8. And against the Fugara and the 8-foot stop diapason in the Swell.
Yeah.
So I'm going to actually put every stop on the organ on, with the exception of the Dulciana. So it's just going to suck up wind, and the flute 4. I'm going to couple it to the grate and play it once without the open diapason 8, and then add it. You can see just how much it packs a punch.
Okay.
What hymn should I use?
Oh, let's see. What's a good favorite one? How about Holy, Holy, Holy? That's a good.
Okay. With the open diapason 8.
I can say one thing, that was the first time that we have a wind indicator here.
Yes.
Back in the days when this was hand pumped, and that was the first time I saw the wind indicator start to travel any at all, because we were using
It
so
was-
much wind to get the
right,
full organ going.
right.
It never sagged. I mean, the
No.
blower's keeping up, but that is the only time you're going to see that happen is when you bring on that first diapason.
Yeah, and this organ is, you might hear it in the microphone, it's very quiet. There's no discernible wind leaks. Right? It's operating like it should. So that's a real treat. This is, like I said, a really great find.
It is.
There's a lot of historic churches in Galena and historic pipe organs, and this really stands out among them. And this church obviously very much cares for this building, for its history, and for this incredible organ. So we give thanks for that.
Unfortunately, circumstances here are such that we're not really able to crawl around in the chamber, but just because I get to take that part off does not mean you get a day off, so you're going to have to demonstrate the instrument for us a little bit.
Happy to.
Well, Andrew, thank you once again. You've brought me an amazing instrument to see and hear, and it's so fantastic that the church has kept it in great condition, and they use it every Sunday we hear, right?
Yeah.
So this is still serving 150 years later, so this is almost 150, but it's still amazing. So thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, please go down in the description, click the thumbs up. There's a link to the church and a specification of the organ, as usual, down in the description. While you're down there, you can click the link that goes to our website, and you can become a sponsor of the Oregon Media Foundation. We can only get to places like this because of our sponsors. So thank you to those of you who have become sponsors. If you haven't yet, go to our new website, and there's a new form where you can donate to us right there. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, so your donation may be tax deductible. Anyway, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. Remember, until our next video is out, because I think we still have some more things from Iowa and Illinois coming out. So yeah, you'll want to see those. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel and click the bell for notifications. And like I say every time, there's 3 streaming stations. Did you know about these? Where you can find classical, organ music streaming 24 hours a day. They've been online. One of them has been online for more than 20 years. OregonLive.com, Positively Baroque, and the Organ Experience. Free, commercial-free streaming classical organ music. You can find it on those websites. But until our next video, I'm Brent Johnson.
I'm Andrew Schaeffer.
Thank you for watching.
towards the end.